All right, I think we are good to go. What's going on, everyone? How's everyone doing on this decent Saturday morning, at least down here in Central Florida? I know it's all my friends up north. I know a lot of stuff is going on with all that snow, so I just hope you guys are hopefully staying indoors, staying all comfy and cozy and warm. For me, at least, I mean, even with, the cooler weather, it's still somehow affecting my sinuses. About a week ago now, I had a really, really bad sinus infection, and I don't really want to talk about it, but I thought today we'd do something a little bit different, and that is show you guys how I bring my vlogs to life, and that is, of course, when Husk isn't meowing over by the patio door. But anyways, so I told you guys a little while ago that I was going to be making a little vlog on whether or not you should visit Walt Disney World in 2026. And to give you guys a plain and simple answer, the answer to that is, of course, yes, but there's a lot of stuff going on with that. So, as you can see, we've got Final Cut Pro loaded up and ready to go. Got the current footage from Hollywood Studios and Epcot, which Allie and I went to 2 days ago now. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how it goes. So normally when I edit my videos, I try to make it both as streamlined and as high quality as possible. However, I have made a decision this year, and that is to focus more on the quality rather than the quantity. Because I feel like if I can actually take my sweet time editing the vlogs to not only my liking, but hopefully your liking as well, I can make something that's really, really good. So, I mean, Husk. He sees a lizard out on the patio and he wants to go attack it, and that's not going to happen. And I will say I'm probably not going to be doing this for very long, as Allie's getting done with work very soon. And we're going to be heading off to the store because we are in quite the need of groceries. Now, I'm not going to go too far into detail on how exactly I edit my vlogs. I'll just kind of go through and show you guys what I do as that time progresses. So, obviously, the intro clip, everyone knows how the intro clips go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my beauties, what have you. Now, normally, as you guys can see, got a little sound bar here. We're going to drag that all the way over. And depending on how it sounds, we might have to kind of, what's the word, let it kind of flow in, if you will. So,
Good morning, my beauties. Today, we're going to try our hardest to answer the question of, should you visit Walt Disney World in 2026?
And a lot of the times, if there's a bit of a gap in between sound, I'll normally just trim it right in between. So
26. Because let's be 26. Because let's.
It doesn't necessarily look natural, but it definitely looks a lot better and it sounds a lot better. So, like I said, it's nothing too crazy, but for what it is, it works. It works. My editing process is definitely a lot more streamlined than I feel like I would necessarily like it to be.
2026. Because let's be real. Across all 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, and of course Disney Springs, there's definitely a lot going on. But at the same time, with all the things that are going on, it also begs the question of.
And thankfully, since I have.
It also begs the question of, should you go this
I have a lot more room
year, or should you just maybe wait it out a little bit?
Because obviously, this feed right now is coming from my external monitor, and just looking at the live stream feed itself, it looks a whole lot better. So yeah, like I said, nothing too crazy. Now, obviously, this is just the intro clip. Now, the intro clips will tend to comprise of anywhere between 1 to 3 clips, and then we'll actually go on with the vlog. So what we're going to do, got my little thumb drive loaded up, we're going to scroll all the way through and find our good morning animation. So let's see, it should be around here somewhere. Yep, so we got good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We're going to use good morning. And this one is actually courtesy of a plugin that I got from DaVinci Resolve. And I know a couple people have asked me, whether or not I've tried DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Premiere. I've tried both, and personally, I'm just not a fan.
Good morning.
Because I've been using Final Cut Pro for almost 10 years now, there's a lot of stuff that I essentially waste when it comes to this program. All my plugins, all my presets are already here. Everything that I want my vlogs to comprise of in post, I have on here. Now,
good morning, my
as you guys can see, this animation.
Good
has
morning,
my
my
back
beauty.
to it. How do we fix that? Well, if we go over here to all the effects, we're going to search here. We're going to find the Luma key. If it was a green screen, then we use green screen here, but since it's not, we're going to use Luma key. And as you guys can see,
good morning, my beauties.
very simple, very, very simple. But if you look a little bit more closely, wherever I find my cursor,
good morning, my beauties.
the speed of the animation doesn't really match the speed of my voice. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a custom speed dial for it. So we set it to 135.
Good morning, my beauties.
Okay, that's a tiny bit too fast. So let's dial it back to, I would say, let's dial it back to maybe, I'd say 130 should do it. If it's still a little fast, then we'll just dial it back by 5%.
Good morning, my beauties.
Yes, still a little too fast. Ooh, 125.
Good morning, my beauties. Good morning, my beauties.
Yeah, looks good to me. And then
26. Because let's be real, across all 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, and of course Disney Springs, there's definitely a lot going on. Let's be real, across all 4 theme parks, definitely a lot of water parks, and of course theme parks, 2 water parks, and of course Disney.
Now, this is going to be a fun part. So, obviously, I'm mentioning everything that Walt Disney World has to offer. 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, and Disney Springs. So, what I'm going to do for this one is add in some clips of each park. Now, if I have panning shots of whatever it is that I'm talking about, then I will just add my own clips in. It makes it a little bit easier. However, in this case, we are going to go on YouTube and look for some clips. And already you can see my suggestion feed, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Allie and I have been watching that a little bit again, and of course some camera stuff. So let's see, Magic Kingdom. Let's do Magic Kingdom Disney World. And what we'll probably get is, well, already, first thing we got is a live stream. And then you got a couple walkthroughs. So again, just very, very simple stuff. Of course, you got a little bit more. Most of the things you're going to find when you type in theme parks are live streams. So let's see. Who was the creator whose clips I used in the Universal vlog? It was the something Brit. I honestly don't even remember, but it's fine. And like I said earlier, we're not going to be here for very long, but with what we're going to do anyways, we're going to make the most of it. So let's see. The Frugal Brit, that's who it was. Let's see. And if you can't hear my amazing mechanical keyboard, then yeah, you're missing out. So yeah. So something like this.
Disney's Magic Kingdom might not change a great deal.
See, just something to get a couple panning shots. So this is going to be another fun part. We're going to click share. Going to copy the link. And then we're going to go to any sort of video downloading program. I use 4K Video Downloader. Should be available on Windows as well. Obviously, I use a Mac, so I have it on there. Open it up, and it's probably going to open up on the actual laptop itself. It might not open on the monitor. Nope. So let's bring this into view. So as you can see, these are all of the videos that I download and put in my videos, whether it's a video or I need the MP3 file to use for music. So as you guys can see, you can change all the settings. So if you want the video, audio, quality. You can do it in 4K. 4K is available. I don't really need to. So go paste link. It's going to take a couple seconds to think. And because it's a bit of a long video, it might take a little while. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, let's continue on. We'll get back to these clips in a little bit.
Should you just maybe wait it out a little bit?
As you guys can see, there's a whole lot of clips. So let's go back here. So actually, what we could do in the meantime, and that's okay. Should probably make sure the live feed is still going. Perfect. So this is a whole new thing. So it's not fully black, but it's
Good morning, my beauties. Today we're gonna. Good morning, my beauties. Today.
So
Good morning, my beauties. Today we're gonna try.
and this was
Try our hardest
quite
to
a crazy day. Now, as you guys can
Good
see,
morning, my beauties. Today we're gonna try our hardest to.
it's not the worst. Normally, in my panning shots, I want them to be as smooth as possible, so we're going to go over to the stabilizer plugin, turn that on, it's going to think for a minute, and just like that, and then if we go back through,
Good morning, my
see it
beauties.
looks
Today
a
we're gonna
whole
try
lot
our hardest to.
so let's continue on. I should also make sure that, you guys can actually hear me. Okay, so why, it's a good thing I caught that. Why is audio input capture, mic aux? Okay, that we can mute. I don't know why that's on there. Desktop audio, that we can take off. And then OS screen capture. Okay, that should hopefully sound a little bit better. Yep, that already sounds a whole lot better. Thank goodness. All right. So sorry about that. That probably sounded very annoying. Probably sounded a little bit cool to the youngins.
Our hardest to answer the question of should you.
So, depending on the kind of vlog that I'm making, sometimes I'll do some panning shots when I get
Try
into
our
the
hardest
part.
to answer the question of
Just
should
to
you
give guys an
visit Walt
idea
Disney.
of what to expect. Because this one was
Our hardest to
filmed
answer the question of
about a week and a half ago now. So these
hardest to answer the
clips
question
have
of
definitely been
should you
sitting for a
visit
bit.
Walt Disney World. Be real across all.
So again, because it's a little bit shaky, we'll go to the stabilizer, drink some water.
To answer the question of should you
And like I
visit
said,
Walt Disney
it's
World
such a
in
whole lot
2000.
cleaner. And I can already tell you guys the stabilization on the A7C2 in comparison to the ZVE1 is already loads better. But again, if I'm doing panning shots, because I don't use a gimbal or anything, I want my footage to look as smooth as possible. So in that case, I'll use the stabilizer. But if I'm just shooting something or talking about something that isn't a panning shot, then I'm not going to bother, because in that case, it's going to look a lot more natural.
2026. Because let's be real, across
And there are times too when some of the footage already looks smooth enough to where you don't need the stabilizer. And if that's the
visit
case,
Walt
good for
Disney
you.
World in
Move on.
2026. Because let's be real, across all 4 theme parks.
So let's see how this one's turning out. Almost done. And another thing you can do as well, if it takes, because it's not as time consuming, you can actually do a screen recording on your phone, airdrop it to your Mac, and go from there. But obviously that's if you use a Mac computer. If you don't use a Mac computer, then just download a program like this and it'll still get the job done, no problem. But because we're not in really any sort of time crunch, we don't really have to do that. So now we got to wait for it to process and convert. In the meantime, let's just move on. Let's keep going. We don't need to keep waiting for this.
Now, normally for a vlog like this, you would. Now, normally wait it out a little bit. Now, normally for a vlog like this, you would want to start over.
Now, the reason why I do a fade in like this, if you guys can see this little bar right here, is that sometimes, depending on how loud the next clip can be, it can almost sound like there's a bit of a chop when that clip starts. So to combat that, you add a little fade in, and it basically eliminates it. You don't have to do a huge fade in, nothing like this, just for maybe a frame or two, and you're good.
Now, normally for a vlog like this, you would want to start over at Magic Kingdom.
And then again, we're gonna...
But given that Hollywood Studios is and has been my favorite Disney park for years now, even with how busy
And like I said, this day was...
now, even with how busy it is, I figured, hey, why not start here?
And I am going back to recording in 4K 24 instead of 60. I'll probably go back to 60 when this vlog is done, because normally what I like to do is start off the year 24 frames, just to kind of get the ball rolling and show you guys, hey, I mean business here with the vlogs and all my content. But if you guys enjoy the 4K 24 content and it looks, you know, a little bit better, a little bit more cinematic, if you will, then I'll keep using it.
Now, normally for a vlog like this, you would want to start over at Magic Kingdom.
And see, because, you know, I'm not moving.
Now, normally for a vlog like this, you would want to start over at Magic Kingdom, but given that Hollywood Studios... Now, normally for a vlog like this, you would want to start over at Magic Kingdom, but given that Hollywood Studios... Definitely going to be busy today. Start here. And while it's definitely going to be busy today, we definitely picked a good day to come out here because look at how nice it is outside.
Now, before I go blow my nose, I will tell you guys... Actually, let me go blow my nose real quick. It was nice when I got there. I need to take a little swig of water. Sorry, my sinuses are still going crazy. You guys can probably hear it a little bit. Sound a little bit more nasally than I would, you know, prefer to. At that point, I might as well start sounding like Lois Griffin. But anyways, yes, it was really nice out in the morning. But I'll show you guys as we get ready to leave. The weather was not happy.
It does, however, say there is a chance of rain later today. Outside. It does, however, say there is a slight chance of rain later today, but I don't think that's really going to stop us. Outside. It does, however, say there is a slight... Nice it is outside. It does, however, say there is...
Between clips, between talking clips, I like to have at least maybe a couple milliseconds in between, just to have a little bit of breath going.
It is outside. It does,
because as you guys can see, you know, if I were to go as soon, like
how nice it is outside. It does, how nice.
See, like, it's like you need to give your subject a little bit of breathing
room. It does,
between sound clips. Otherwise, it's just gonna sound terrible, and it's just gonna sound like you're trying to talk fast all at once.
It does, however, say there is a slight chance of rain later today, but I don't think that's really going to stop us. Now, when you think of Disney's Hollywood Studios, you of course think of, you know, Hollywood and the rides that... And I feel like the Tower of Terror is a perfect start to our day. Now, when you think of Disney... Now, when you think of Disney's Hollywood Studios, you of course... Stop us. Now, when you think of Disney's Hollywood Studios, you of course think of, you know, Hollywood and the rides that come with it. That come with it. Come with it. And I feel like the Tower of Terror is a perfect start to our day.
Now, for those wondering, did I actually go on Tower of Terror? No, I tried to. However, a certain someone, you know, didn't make her way outside. But, you know, it's fine. I still love her.
A ride that I would happily consider an absolute classic. Now, when it comes to... Of course, think of, you know, Hollywood and... that come with it. Now, when it comes to Tower of Terror, it is a ride that I would happily consider an absolute classic because one, obviously the Twilight Zone, everyone knows what the Twilight Zone is. But in terms of the ride itself, you just can't go wrong with it. It's a little bit better. I know I'm probably now, while in my opinion, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout over at Disney's California Adventure is a little bit better. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that, but just hear me out for that.
Now, I know I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but I will mention it right here. The reason I think Guardians is better than Tower of Terror is Guardians just gives off a more fun vibe. It's definitely, I'd still consider it a thrill ride by all the means, but they still somehow managed to make it fun. And for a ride like this, you know, you wouldn't expect that kind of theming. But anyways.
For that, but just hear me out for a second when I say that that ride, in terms of the tech, in terms of all, you know, the set pieces, all that jazz, it just looks a little bit visually better.
And that too. Like the animatronics they use, the screens in the actual ride itself, it just looks better. Because the issue that Tower of Terror has been having is, one, it's been going down a lot more often, and a lot of the showpieces kind of stopped working here and there, so if you don't go on Tower of Terror,
the rides that come with it.
Now, when it apply to you. Now, let's take this for example. So, obviously, we're going to want a clip of the Tower of Terror. So, because I have plenty of tower clips going on, what I can do is go through, find a Hollywood Studios vlog. Let's see. I don't know if I have any recent ones. But if we got to go back a bit, then that's perfectly fine. So let's see. Nothing here. No, that wouldn't be it. Okay, so clearly it's been a while since I last filmed Tower of Terror. It's actually kind of surprising. I thought I filmed Tower a little bit more recently, but maybe not. No big deal. No big deal. No. Yeah, it has certainly been a while since I last filmed it. I'm already going back to 2024. Nothing there. Nothing there. Ah, there we go. Yeah, riding every ride at Hollywood Studios, yada, yada, yada. I think. Did I go on Tower in this vlog? I doubt it. The answer to that is a big no. Let's see, what about in this vlog? Ryan was with me. I probably took him on it. Maybe. Aha, there we go. Beautiful. Now, in this case, I'm not going to bother downloading my own video because, well, yes, I already downloaded. Well, you know what? I'll show you guys the process again because at this point, I mean, let's see. Let's go to the channel. And we'll go to videos. Actually, what we should do is go to the playlists. Let's see, Walt Disney World Adventures. It's going to play a video. We don't want to play a video. We just want the download link. So let's see. Looks like in this vlog, my son was with me.
Nah.
Yep, there he is. Oh, this is back when I had the R6. Okay, so we're going to copy that. How long is that vlog? Ooh, about 45 minutes. Well, let's see. Let's see how long this one takes. Because at the end of the day, all you need to know is that I'm still going to throw in overlay clips.
Now, when it comes to Tower,
Yeah, Tower is definitely better.
Really better. But if we're talking strictly nostalgia, then yeah, Tower of Terror here is much better. Much better.
Of course, Tower of Terror. Then we also talk about villains for a bit.
Would think. Now, for the Rock and Roller Coaster is getting would think. Would think. For those who don't know, Rock and Roller Coaster is getting refurbished to feature the Muppets instead of Aerosmith. Now, the reason why this is happening is because Aerosmith is officially retired.
Which is very sad.
Officially retired, even though they did.
But then at the time, it's just the unfortunate truth is
Check it
that
out.
Steven Tyler just he unfortunately could not keep up with his voice. So because of that, they've just had no other choice but to call it quits. Even though they just made a new song with Youngblood a couple months back.
Out. But because they are no longer performing, most likely no longer making music as of this point, there's really no need to keep them performing. There's really no need to keep them around at the longer performing. There's really no need to keep them around at the parks.
Which again, it's definitely sad. But because Aerosmith isn't really Aerosmith anymore, this is Disney's opportunity to just kind of weasel them out. As sad as that sounds, as cruel as that might sound, that's just how it is.
And as much as Steven Tyler himself loves this ride,
Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Very important. Give me just a minute. Anyways, see, I don't really ever tell people.
sad as it sounds, there's
so
just
they
no
don't
point in
know.
keeping it
That's
around. There's no point in keeping it around. Keeping it around. Now, the reason why a lot of people are up in arms about this when it comes to the Muppets is because you wouldn't.
See, now, even though that's not too big a breath between talks, I'm still going to
because you wouldn't the Muppets is because you wouldn't really associate the Muppets with a roller coaster, at least not a roller coaster like this.
Obviously, because Rock and Roller Coaster has a height limit, and because Muppets is still technically considered a kids show, a kids franchise, a lot of the kids are on this attraction, and I do feel bad. So, let's see, we got 3 more clips talking about this, and then we'll...
And the reason for that is while the Muppets is one of the most nostalgic things Disney and Jim Henson have ever created, for something like this, it just doesn't really make sense, given that nowadays the Muppets is still technically geared more towards children, but those children don't really have the opportunity to ride a ride like this. So in my opinion, yes, it's definitely exciting to see the Muppets get a little bit this. So in my opinion, yes, it's definitely exciting So in my opinion, yes, it's definitely exciting to see the Muppets get a little bit more recognition at the Disney parks. In my opinion, this just isn't the way to do it.
However, I think I do mention it somewhere, potentially.
And I think, too, the very fast turnaround that we were expecting with this refurb should also, maybe cause a little bit of red flag.
Yeah, we don't need to keep that one in there.
Just isn't.
The point is, because Rock and Roller Coaster has a height limit, and because Muppets is geared towards children, you're on a lot of potential riders, a lot of excited potential riders, mind you. So we'll cut it right here, but in the meantime, I'll show you guys how I do some of the overlay clips. Obviously, you guys saw this one right here.
Now, normally for a vlog like
again,
this, you
it's
would...
a very, very simple thing to do, but it can also really add a lot of pizzazz to your content.
Now, when it comes to Tower of Terror, it is a...
So let's see, that one is still going. I don't even know why I decided to do
Tower.
that. I should have just screen grabbed it on my phone and
happily consider an absolute classic because, one, obviously the Twilight Zone, everyone knows what the Twilight Zone is, but if there is a ride at Disney's Hollywood Studios that needs to be talked about, it is, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster. Studios that needs to be talked about, it is, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster. It is, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster, and what is
right
it is, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster, and what is possibly one of the most
So obviously this clip, it's going to need some stabilization, so I'll turn that on.
It is, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster.
And depending on how shaky the video is, essentially how the stabilizer works, and if you have a Sony camera and you use dynamic active, all it does is it just crops it in, and that allows the AI system to remove a lot of that excess shakiness as if it wasn't on, if that kind of makes sense. And the same principle applies to this right here.
It is, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster, and what is possibly one of the most controversial...
So let's see. Let's shorten that clip and then throw this clip.
Controversial refurbs of all time. And it's definitely one of the most controversial refurbs. And it's definitely not for the reasons that most people would think. For those who don't know, Rock and Roller Coaster, controversial refurbs.
So like for this, because we are rotating it, again, I keep getting emails. Because we're rotating the camera, I'm going to do the stabilizer, so it looks like this one takes a lot out of it.
Possibly one of the most controversial refurbs of all time. And it's definitely not...
Okay, so then for this... I see that's why. Okay, so then actually let's put that clip back in.
The most...
Because this clip is in 24 frames, I don't like to slow it down, because it's just going to look extremely choppy and not very pleasing. Yeah, so right there, as you guys can see, that took off a whole... That kept in a
Possibly
whole
one of the most controversial refurbs of all time. And it's definitely not for the reasons that most people would know. Rock and Roller Coaster is getting refurbished to feature the Muppets instead of Aerosmith now. All four theme parks, 2 water parks, and of course Disney Springs, there's definitely a lot going on, but at the same time,
I'll show you guys the Magic Kingdom clip.
Because let's be real, across all 4 theme parks...
Now, because I'm talking very loud, we only have like maybe a second or two for each park to be put in there. So that clip is almost done. This one's done. So let's go, because we got it saved in the thumb drive. And the crazy thing is I've had this thumb drive for about 10 years, and it's still holding up strong. It only has like maybe a mere fraction of storage consumed on it. So lucky me, I guess. I also need to put some chapstick on. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've definitely been biting my lips, and it's not a fun time. What can you do, right? So let's scroll down. Let's find this Disney's Magic Kingdom. Oh, just saw it. Yep, there it is. Disney's Magic Kingdom, rides and attractions. And then, yep. And because it's a very, very long video, obviously, we're just going to throw it in there. Whoops. There we go. And of course, it's going to take a little bit because the video has to import and render. So of course, you got the beautiful
across
beach
all
ball.
4 theme parks, 2 water parks. Real across all 4 theme parks, 2.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Because obviously, we don't need that much footage. And all it's doing is
across all 4 theme real across all real. Across all four theme parks, two real. Across all four theme parks, two real. Across all four theme
Now, obviously, that's...
across
It only looks like a couple frames. Give me just a second. And that is my beautiful wife calling me, which of course means we got to get ready to head on off. So as you guys can see,
across
it
all
doesn't
four
look like much, but trust me, when I add in all the other parks, it's going to look a lot better. But even then, just a simple clip like that can do wonders for a vlog. And then I'll actually show you guys how I add in the text clip as well really quickly. If it will render, because again, I have a very old computer. Seems like everything I have is at least 10 years old. Like, the computer that I have is almost 10 years old. The monitor that I have is definitely 10 years old. Oh, why didn't it go in? Okay. There we go. Maybe? So we'll just put it probably at the end of the video, or I mean the end of the clip. So let's delete that, and I will show you guys how I throw this in. So obviously, you want to tag the creator of whatever clip you're using. Got to give them the credit. And then let's find a good font. So I've been using Bada Boom for a little bit, because this one definitely looks a lot better. So we'll put it at about 90. And then let's just throw it down here in the corner. There you go. Let's add a little bit of an outline. We'll put the outline in black just so that it doesn't take away too much from it. I think it's also because I have OBS on for the live stream, so it is eating away at everything. Now, looks decent, you know, just looking at that frame, it looks pretty decent, but we can do a little bit better. So if it'll load. So yeah, how you guys doing today? How's everyone's Saturday been so far?
across all four, and of course.
Alright, so I'm just going to show you guys right here, and then let's go, where did I find it? So we're going to go to opacity, and we're going to drop that back to, we'll go about 50. Why not? If it'll drop it back. Let's see. Like, hi, can you... Yep, there it goes.
Across all four.
And so as you guys can see, let's increase it just a little bit. Let's go, yeah, about 55. So let's just set it dead set at 55. So as you guys can see, looks a lot better. You can still see it, but it's not taking away from your actual subject. But that's all I got for now. Probably come on later on when things have cooled down a little bit. We got a lot of stuff to do today, but I thought I'd just come on here and kind of show you guys a little bit of how I bring the vlogs to life. I know it wasn't super eventful, but even then, you know, it gives you a decent idea of how a vlog can start and how you can make it pop out really well in just the first couple of minutes. So with all that out of the way, we of course do this every single week, so make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell. Take care of yourselves, and we will see y'all next time.